Hi, everybody. Welcome to PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. I'm your host, Kim Weiler, and you are listening to my show, Taking Control of Our Health. There are so many topics that I can delve into that have to do with taking control of our health. But if someone asked me, what's the one thing that you would tell someone who's struggling, one thing, that would be to work on their self-love. That word, self-love, it gets tossed around these days a lot, doesn't it? And I know it sounds incredibly cheesy and hippy-dippy, I know, but I'm telling you, it's real, powerful, and it's healing. And I'm proof of that. You know, they say that you teach what you need to learn the most. And for me, that's self-love. And I know now that loving myself is my biggest lesson to continue learning and working on it every single day. It's not easy sometimes. So I want to take you back to 4 years ago. You know, here I was, psoriasis-free for the first time in almost 20 years. And then something happened. I met my husband, Mike. So here I was, falling in love, dating, feeling invincible. And you know what happens when you start dating. Alcohol made its way back into my life. I started drinking wine and having dessert. And every time we'd go, to bars with friends, I'd have a beer or I'd be eating, fried pub food. And, I'd have these thoughts like, well, what's it going to take for my psoriasis to come back? I didn't want to know, but you would not think that by my behavior. And then something else happened. I had a really bad fall, and I needed surgery on my leg. I had ripped 3 of my hamstring tendons off of my pelvic bone. Ouch. It hurts even saying that. Can't believe I went through that. But so that recovery lasted about a year. So as you can imagine, during that time, I really got knocked off my alkaline wagon. I was so depressed. I was on a ton of medications, and I had to rely on other people to take care of me. So I wasn't going to ask my mom to juice kale for me. No. Truth was, I didn't care about kale. I didn't care about eating anything healthy, period. I just wanted my life back. So what happened was my body spoke to me and started telling me this isn't okay. And between all the toxic negative emotions I was feeling, all the toxic medications I was taking, and all the toxic food I was eating, my psoriasis reared its ugly head. And it was so disappointing because I knew that I was the one in control. I had just completely let it go. I stopped caring. So fast forward 2 years ago, when I finally felt ready to get back on that wagon, I was so excited and ready, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to eat real clean. I got this. I was feeling really good about it. And after a few months of eating clean and doing everything I had done before, nothing was changing. My skin wasn't clearing, and it was beyond frustrating. And that was the moment that I realized that nutrition wasn't just food. I'm just going to say that again. Nutrition isn't just food. It's so much more. And there was so much more important nourishment that I was lacking. So this is what happened. I was working at a TV job where I had a lot of stress. And I would come home to Mike and I'd complain to him, and I'm not a complainer. So one night I'm pacing around the apartment complaining, and I was really frustrated, and I said, why am I not seeing clearing? I'm killing myself with this diet. Like, what is going on? Why isn't this working? And he said, well, do you think it has anything to do with all the stress that you're having at work? Like, doesn't stress make it worse? And I just want to tell you guys that I knew that. I know that stress is the biggest contributor to disease, but I needed him to point that simple yet profound thing out to me at that time because I couldn't see it. I was such a stress case that I couldn't see it. And I needed to work on alleviating my stress, which was the self-love that I was lacking in my life big time. I needed to care enough about myself to make my happiness my first priority again. That's self-love. When I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, they had coined a term called primary food. And this is the food that nourishes us, but it's not the food that's on our plate. It's the nourishment we get from having healthy relationships with people, a fulfilling career, exercise, spiritual practice, whatever that is for you, having a healthy relationship with money, with food, with our bodies, having hobbies that bring us joy, and being able to alleviate stress. That's a really big one. These all nourish us in ways that basically broccoli and kale never can. And I'm not saying those veggies don't give us amazing nutrients. I love those freaking veggies. But if I was in an unhealthy relationship or had a really stressful job, kale isn't really going to be what makes me healthy or balanced, is it? So it wasn't until I realized how much stress that I was under at work, working at that job, that did this all make sense to me. Self-love is about changing our mentality, changing your thoughts to be more loving and kind towards yourself. To me, the biggest form of self-love is to do whatever we have to do to eliminate negative self-talk. It has to go, or you will never be the happiest that you can be in life. Our cells listen to our thoughts, so it's all about changing our mentality and shift where we put our focus. So let me ask you this. Should I focus on hating my skin when I see a spot pop up, or should I focus on loving it and taking my time to figure out why that spot appeared and where that imbalance is? It's a good question, right? Saying loving things to yourself every day in some way, shape, or form. Thinking of things you're grateful for. Choosing to focus on the positive aspects of life more than the negative. All of that. Practicing self-love decreases stress. And that's why it's so instrumental to healing. Decreasing our stress, it strengthens our immune systems. So our self-esteem is increased. Our blood pressure is lowered. We feel motivated. It awakens happiness inside of us. It makes us feel like enough, which so many of us have issues with, right? So many of us are walking around not feeling like enough, not loving ourselves enough to succeed at life. And I can tell you this, once I chose to practice self-love every day, my skin has been clearer than ever before. I've started making me and my happiness a priority, and I want you to do the same. So start today. Do something nice for yourselves every day. Get that massage. Go for that walk. Read a chapter in that book. Call a friend. Paint, write, draw. Whatever you have the desire to do that brings you joy. I like to have a nice cup of tea. I love giving my husband a hug. I love to think about 5 positive things that occurred in my day each night before I go to sleep. And I love, love, love when I'm in the shower and I can take 5 extra minutes to let the water massage my back. We get caught up in doing everything for everybody else all day long. We're not doing things for ourselves. But don't we deserve to do something for ourselves? I think we do. And on very busy days, trust me, I am so guilty of this too. I really am. Sometimes my bathroom time is all the me time I've got that day. So I take full advantage while I'm in there because it's about your self-worth. Are you worth having 5 minutes to yourself to do this one thing each day? At first it might feel forced, yes, but I'm trying to drill in your minds that you deserve it and that you're worth it. And I'm hoping if you do this, it'll become a habit and you'll continue to do it, or you'll just get really used to doing it and it'll feel so freaking good that you just can't not do it anymore. I would love nothing more than to hear you guys, like what you're doing each day to love yourself. I would love, love, love if you emailed me and let me know. And you can reach me at kim@healingmyskin.com. And I just want to thank you so much for listening. And if you need more information or you want to reach out and tell me what you've been doing for yourself, or you need more ideas, again, it's kim@healingmyskin.com. And to listen to the show, you can go to passionateworldradionetwork.com, or you can find it on iTunes by typing in my full name, Kim Weiler, Weiler, Healing My Skin. You can also find my book, P.S. It's All About Love, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Outskirts Press. This is your host, Kim Weiler, with Taking Control of Our Health on PWR Network. Thank you so much for listening.